Hi everyone, welcome back to this session of Paint With Me Fridays. If you don't know already, I'm Amber Lynn and I'm also Urban Isla. So thank you for joining me. For those of you who were with me last session, thank you. And thank you for hanging with me through all of the sound issues. I think I have it fixed. If you can't hear me, let me know, but I feel very official. I have a little clip-on mic that I have tested and tested, and so you should be able to hear me very well now. If you don't, again, please let me know. Let's briefly touch on what we did last session to maybe catch a few people up. Last session, we worked on a dresser where we worked with some decoupage paper, we worked with molds, and we worked with texture and blending. So we will not be working with any of those techniques this time. So if you are wanting some tips or tricks or just a little push to work with those things, check out that session, and all of those videos are archived, or you can go to my website, which is urbanisla.com, and they are under the tutorial section. So moving on from that, at the end of the very last section on the dresser, I asked y'all where we wanted to go next, and overwhelmingly y'all decided to do the armoire, the fun girly armoire. So here it is. We are going to get started on that. You can see I already got a little bit started on it. So let's jump right in. What you have, or what you see behind me, is just your basic run-of-the-mill armoire. I even think it might be from Rooms to Go. I got it free, which is a bonus. Whenever you can get furniture free, do it, as long as it's wood and not that MDF stuff, because you cannot paint that well. Does not turn out well. Again, armoire. I knew when I was getting this what I was looking for, what I wanted, what I had in mind to do. I always encourage people who ask how to pick furniture, what are you doing? How do you go about that? I never bring a piece into my workshop without having a plan in mind, or at least a general idea. I don't have a huge space here. Most people I know don't have a huge space. So I at least have a rough idea, a basic idea of what I would do to a piece. Maybe it doesn't stay in that direction, but a direction in mind before I bring something in. I also have put some parameters on what I do bring in. Dressers sell for me. Nightstands don't. Maybe for you, you sell nightstands all day long and you can't get dressers to sell. It's not going to be the same for everyone. Long dressers sell for me. I struggle with the tall dressers. In my area, that's just what people are looking for. So just because you get on that furniture flippers, flips and tricks page, which is a fantastic page. I learned so much from that page when I was starting out. But just because someone in Ohio says, well, this is what's selling, if you're in Tennessee, they don't match up. So make sure you're filtering the information that you're getting by what is actually relevant for you. Okay, so when I picked up this behemoth of a piece, you can't see all of it because I couldn't get it into my screen. It is huge. I had a plan for it before I brought it home. I actually went searching for this. Okay. It was boring. It did have the crown molding on top. It had a little bit of decor on the bottom. But other than that, it was just flat, plain, and boring. I knew I wanted it for a little girl's room. So I didn't want it to look as masculine as it is. So I added some flourishes to it. And you can do that in multiple ways. You can do it with molds. We did that last time with the plain flat dresser. We added some bamboo molds to it. But this time I chose to use a product called Would You Bend. And this right here, if you can see it, I hope you can see it. Maybe I'll bring you close. Hello. Let's see. There you go. Flourishes right here. And all of those flourishes up there. And I have one down at the bottom. Sorry, I hope I'm not making you dizzy. Okay. And I have one down here at the bottom. Are Would You Bend products. And if you haven't heard of Would You Bend products, I'm about to show you what they look like. Oh, the inside. So this is a Would You Bend product. Very, very fancy. It's a beautiful rose, right? This is sawdust. This is compressed sawdust. When this heats up, it becomes pliable. So you can do it with a hairdryer. It just takes forever. So I have a heat gun, which I have upstairs because I'm using it on something else. You heat it up. You don't heat it up too much, but you can bend it and make it pliable. So like with the flourishes up at the top, I heated it, heated it, and then I was able to bend it to make it fit up inside that little crown area. I used sticky glue or that tacky glue, held it for a few minutes, let it stick in there, and then it became like it was part of this piece. So before we get too much further, we talked about choosing the piece. Let's talk about piece preparation before we get into where we're going with this piece directly. So you can see from here that this piece had a very dark stain on it. It's not necessarily dark wood underneath it, but it had just this very dark stain to make it look more rustic. I wanted to be light and bright. So to make sure that that dark stain didn't bleed through into my light, I put two coats of sealer on it. You can use primer, you can use what you want, but I used a product called Boss. It's by Dixie Belle, and it actually prevents tannins from coming through, stains coming through, smells coming through, all of those things. So I covered it. I just took a roller and a paint tray and I put two thick coats on because I've had those tannins seep through. And once you get your paper on or your paint on, it's a really big bummer to have to go back and reseal, sand down, reseal, and then start over again. So I've learned that lesson. Learn from me, please learn from me, and don't skip that step. So she had been sitting in the previous owner's garage for a while. She had been sitting down here in my workshop for a while. So she got a good scrubbing, cleaned her inside out, on top. Don't forget the on top because all kinds of nasty things live up there. Inside the cubbies really well. And then she got her two coats of the sealer. Okay, this on the inside is going to be something that we will do next week. So we're not going to talk about that right now. We have done our embellishments to make this look like it came with that. I wanted to put them on before I did my base coats on the doors on the front, because I wanted to make it look like they came with it. I didn't want them to look like an addition. So that's why I added them first. This has 2 coats of, actually it has more than 2 coats. It has 2 coats of the color that we're going to end up going with. So I originally, if you can see that top color, it's kind of a grayish white. That's the color that I actually wanted to go with. And I bought this new kind of paint that I hadn't worked with before, and it didn't go very far. I ended up using the entire container just on a single coat going around, and it was really expensive, and I didn't want to go and buy anymore. So if you want to know what that paint is, DM me. I didn't like how it went on or anything, but I'm not going to rat them out here. So I ended up going with a color that I did have here, and I like it. It's not the white gray that I had, but we will add some things to it to kind of get back to that white gray. So the inside, my plan for the inside is, it is going to look like I hope it is going to look like a little girl's room exploded on the inside. Anything that a little girl might love is going to be right there on the inside. Little girl fantasy playground in there. I have 2 children. I think probably most of you have children, grandchildren. When my children were the age that I'm hoping people who purchase this are, we didn't spend very much on furniture. 1, they were rough on it. 2, they colored on the inside of it because they didn't want to get caught coloring on the outside of it. And 3, kids change their mind a lot. My daughter was constantly wanting to repaint her room, paint her furniture, redesign everything. I don't know where she gets that. We're still trying to figure that out. But the point is, we just didn't want to buy kid-specific furniture because kids grow, kids change. My point is, my plan for this is, 1, to make it super affordable. It will not be one of my higher price point pieces, but I want to make this a piece that will grow with the girl or even with the family. Something that if the girl doesn't like it, it can go into a guest room. But as she gets older, they can pull out what's on the inside. They can hang a rod. They can put some basket. Hey, girl, how are you? Thanks for jumping on. They can put some baskets in the cubbies, and it can become an actual armoire instead of the reading nook that we're creating. Love all of your pieces, Jill. That flamingo piece just is crazy speaking to me. Anything beachy, love, love, love. So back to this. My plan, and we're going to get started painting here in a second, is to make this look kind of like you're welcome. You're welcome, of course. Can you hear me this time? Do you see my fancy little microphone? Now I feel like completely official and like big time because I have a little mic, but now maybe people can actually hear me instead of just sitting here running my mouth with no sound. is to make this look like a Tuscan textured type piece. I know, I feel fancy and dorky all at the same time, but you know what, that's my personality anyway, so I'm just gonna run with it. Yay! Bonus. Okay, problem solved. Check. All right, so we're gonna get started. Yay! All right, well, cross your fingers because I haven't practiced this, so we're all learning it together. Okay, here we go. Readers going on. You're gonna get to look at kind of that view for a while, which is not my best side. I am so sorry for that. Okay. Here are the tools that we are gonna start with here. It is just all-purpose DAP spackling paste, your general popsicle stick, and just your general, 59-cent little scraper thing. You can see I use this. I don't want to dump it on my table. I use this a lot, but all of this up here on the rim is dry and crusty. You don't want to use that, but you do want to give this a good stir. This is the same stuff that you use when you are sheetrocking. And I had a dad that I'm an only child, only grandchild too. And so I have a dad that is Mr. Athletic, Mr. Fix everything. He can build furniture from looking at it at a picture. He is just incredibly gifted. But I do think he probably wanted a boy because he wanted me to be able to do everything that he did too. And so any type of project, changing the oil, changing the brakes, sheetrocking, all of those things I learned to do with him. So this was not a foreign concept when I started working on this. So you just want to kind of clean off that popsicle stick because you don't want to waste any of it. This stuff isn't expensive, but why waste it, right? Okay, so you put your popsicle stick down. You get your little tool spreader, and you don't put a ton of it on because you don't want can you see? Okay. You don't want to glob it on. You just want to smear it on. Okay. So I am wanting it to look like a smooth textured wall everywhere is what I'm going for. So if you do this, you get to make that decision. Okay. So we're just going to start. I'm going to start on this door over here because it's more dry. So I am just going to smooth it. Sorry for the banging. I took all of the hinges off because they weren't working anyway. And I'm just kind of going in circles, and I'm just going to fill it in until I get the shape and the texture that I like. There is no rhyme, reason, design that is right or wrong for this. Now, someone who does this for a living may tell you that I'm wrong, may tell you that my technique is wrong, but okay, I don't do it for a living, so sue me, I guess. So like the texture on the octopus, you get to decide how bumpy, how smooth you want it to be. So this will take, a good 24, 48 hours to dry. Okay, so I'm going to bring you in. I'll come back and finish that later. Y'all don't want to sit and listen to that banging and boom, boom, boom and watch me do that for an hour. Okay, can you see? I'm going to put my readers on. Can you see the texture in there? You see how some of it is all the way down, very smooth. Some of it is thicker. That's what I'm going for. And I am going to do this entire panel. I am going to do this whole front. I'm not going to do here. I may do a little in here, but I don't want to take anything away from this applique here. And when I get down to it, I'm just going to play with it and see, okay, this looks right. This doesn't look right. It's very free flow. Okay. So let's go back to those beautiful roses. Okay, put your imagination hats on for me. The whole front of this is done, right? It looks more girly, but it could still sit in your family room, right? Okay, so I want to add more girly pieces to it without going overboard. So I have multiple size of flowers here. So I think this is actually a carnation. Jill, do you know? I think it is. And then I have a small rose that you've seen. And then, ready? Are you ready? I have this huge rose. Like, look at that. This huge Mama Jamma. Okay. My thought is to place a few of them in different spots and then to use some of this plaster to make stems going down, and then draw in or use the plaster to make some other flowers. Thoughts? I think that's where we're going with this. We're just going to have to see. But let's play a little bit. So if we have right up here at the top, and remember, these are bendable, moldable, right? So I get my heat gun on this, and this adds dimension. So it can fit in these nooks and crannies, and the rose it will have movement to it, okay? So let's say I put this large one here, okay? So I kind of mark it off where it goes. Do not be afraid to mark on your piece. It's paint, y'all. You can literally paint over it. If you don't like it, paint over it. It is not a big deal, okay? You're experimenting. The only way we learn is by trying things. And if it turns out, fantastic. If it doesn't turn out, it doesn't turn out. Okay, so we've used one. So we know one is going right here. This is a large. This paint's still kind of wet. Let's put another one right here. I don't want it so busy. I don't want it so busy that it overtakes the entire armoire. Okay. And maybe one here. Okay, so this side has 3 large ones on it. So to balance that out, I'll do maybe 1 or 2 on this side. And I definitely don't want them in the same places or in the same angles. I want to offset them. So this one's in the middle, this one's off to the side, and that one's off to the side. So honestly, I think I will just do one. I think I'll just do one right here for now. No, I'm going to do it down here. Can you even see? Yeah, it's way down in the corner. And I put it over the corner of the door like I did down there. Okay, so I'm done with the large ones. I only have 2 medium ones, but that's okay because the large ones take up so much space. I have nothing on this door. So what I might do a little grouping right here in the middle of medium let's see. And I think I'm just going to put one small right there. And I think I will put the other medium one maybe here. And I don't know if I'm going to add the other small one. Okay, so this is, and y'all probably can't see it because it's in pencil. Okay, so I have a medium and small. I have a large, just a large here. I have a large and a medium, a large, and a large. So it's not a ton. Oh, I keep covering you up. I'm sorry. It's not a ton, but that leaves me room. That leaves me room to add plaster to it. That leaves me room to hand draw pieces on it. And that leaves me room to create different types of flowers, paint flowers, just to create a floral garden on there if I want to. My plan for this is to do everything tone on tone. Now, tone on tone is I plan to paint these the same color as the door. And I will do some accents, like where the ridges are, I will do those in a lighter shade of white and possibly a darker shade like a khaki or a driftwood, just to give them some shadows and depths. So next time they will be on. They may not be on in that space, but I will have the texture done up in the top, and I will have the roses and I will have the roses on. I may not have the flowers done because I want to show you how to do the flowers with the spackle. I will probably, going forward, I will probably have one door done, and then we can do the other door together. It was just more difficult to have that done like this today. So I'm going to cut it a little short today because we don't have as much to do. But next week, we will plan on finishing. One door will be completely finished. We will do the second door. And then we may, if we have time, we may start on the inside. What I want your opinion on, and so I will put a poll up about this. This inside is going to be papered in this fun. It is a cloud mural. So it starts with the blue, and then it transitions to pink. It transitions to pink, to purple, and then to gold. So it's going to go on the sides here. So on the doors, should we make it a chalkboard? And you can tint. You can get tintable chalk paint. So it could be pink, it could be purple, it could be white, it could be whatever. Should we make it a chalkboard? Should I maybe get a mirror and make one side a mirror, one side a chalkboard? I think you can get dry erase paint. What should we do with the doors? These are going to be pink on the inside, just a real soft blush pink. And I am looking for a crystal light. And we will also talk about how we are going to do the seat cushion in there. So we still have lots and lots of projects to do. But I am going to put that poll up. I will provide a couple options, but feel free to add your own opinion, because maybe there's just something that I haven't thought of yet that could be super, super cool. Because it's been a long time since I've had kids this age. Mine are 25 and 22. So let me know, and I will see you next week. Thank you for joining me. Bye.